Captain Han-Da-One stood at the bridge of the ESV Harmony, watching the stars through the main viewport. His research vessel was small but efficient, carrying 30 of Earth's finest scientists. Most important among them was his wife, Dr. Kim Soo-ji, who worked in the lower deck laboratory. "Captain, all systems are normal," reported Officer Choi from his station. "We're maintaining steady orbit around Arcturus B." Day-One nodded, his hand touching the small photo fixed to his command console, a picture of him and Soo-ji on their wedding day. 5 years of marriage, 3 of them spent in space, chasing her dream of faster-than-light travel. "Sir," the sensor officer called out suddenly, "we have an unknown contact appearing at Mark 227. Day-One straightened in his chair. "Show me." The main screen lit up with an image of a ship unlike anything they had seen before. It was dark purple, almost black, with sharp angles that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Open communications," Da-One ordered. "Standard greeting protocol." The communications officer sent out the message in all known formats. They waited. 10 seconds passed. 20. 30. The ship grew larger on their screen. "Sir, they're approaching fast." The sensor officer's voice cracked. "Their weapons systems are active." Day-One hit the ship-wide alarm. "All hands, battle stations. This is not a drill. All science personnel to safe rooms immediately." The first hit rocked the Harmony hard. Emergency lights flashed red across the bridge. "Hull breach in Laboratory Section 3. Someone shouted. Day-One's blood ran cold. That was Soo-ji's lab. He grabbed the internal comm. "Soo-ji, get out of there now." Her voice came back, broken by static. "Da-One, they're not just attacking. They're trying to take something. My research. I can't let them have it. Forget the research. Get to safety." Through the security feeds, he watched her running between lab stations, deleting data, destroying samples. The alien ship had lashed onto their hull directly above her section. Multiple hostiles boarding through Lab 3. Security reported. "They're cutting through our defenses." Soo-ji's voice came again, calmer now. "Da-One, my love, the emergency bulkheads in this section aren't responding. If they get my research, Earth could be in danger." "No," he whispered, understanding what she planned to do. "Someone has to manually seal the lab section," she said. "And someone has to destroy the data core. Soo-ji, please. I love you, Da-One. Keep our people safe." The security feed showed her hitting the manual override. Heavy doors slammed down across all exits from the lab section. Then she turned to the central computer core, pulling out a small explosive charge she kept for destroying sensitive materials. The aliens broke through the lab door. They were tall, their bodies covered in some kind of shifting armor that made them hard to look at. Soo-ji stood facing them, the charge in her hand. "For Earth," she said, and pressed the detonator. The explosion took out the lab's data cores, but also breached the hull. The vacuum of space pulled everything out. The research, the aliens, and Soo-ji. The last thing Da-One saw on the feed was his wife, tumbling into space, being captured in some kind of energy field from the alien ship. Then the alien vessel disconnected from the Harmony and vanished as quickly as it had appeared, taking Soo-ji with it. The bridge was silent except for emergency alerts and the sound of Da-One's shallow breathing. His hand crumpled the wedding photo as he stared at the empty space where the alien ship had been. "Send a Priority 1 message to Earth Command," he said, his voice hard as steel. "We are at war." The Earth Space Command Center buzzed with activity. 3 days had passed since the attack on the ESV Harmony. Captain Han-Da-One sat in a large meeting room, surrounded by Earth's highest-ranking military leaders. His uniform was clean, but dark circles under his eyes showed he hadn't slept much. Admiral Park stood at the front of the room, his gray hair neat, his face serious. Behind him, a large screen showed images of the alien ship that had attacked the Harmony. "What you're about to see is classified," Admiral Park said. He pressed a button, and new images appeared. These pictures were taken by our secret deep space stations. The species that attacked you is called the Nexer Dominion. The room grew quiet as more images showed the purple-black ships attacking other vessels. Some images showed alien creatures being dragged into their ships, never to be seen again. Why didn't we know about them before? Someone asked. Oh, we knew, Admiral Park said. He looked straight at Day One. We've been watching them for years. They're hunters, scientists. They take people to study them. We think they're looking for ways to make themselves stronger. Day One's hands tightened into fists. And you didn't warn us. My wife. Captain. Admiral Park cut in. What I'm about to show you will explain everything. The screen changed again. This time, it showed massive shipyards hidden inside Earth's moon. Huge warships sat in dock, their dark metal gleaming. They were bigger than anything One had ever seen. Earth isn't defenseless, Captain. We've been building in secret for 15 years. Every time we detected a new alien threat, we made our ships better, stronger. The Harmony was just a research vessel, but the Admiral smiled grimly. These are warships. Pictures of weapons appeared next. Energy cannons that could cut through any known shield. Armor that could repair itself. Engines that could chase down any ship in known space. The Nexer think they're superior to everyone, Admiral Park continued. They think they can just take whatever they want, but they've never faced humanity's real power. He walked over to Day One and placed a hand on his shoulder. Captain, we're giving you command of our newest ship, the ESV Retribution. The screen showed a beautiful but deadly vessel. It was sharp and sleek, painted dark blue with the Earth Force symbol on its side. Even sitting still, it looked fast. Why me? Day One asked quietly. Because you've seen them up close. Because you know what they've done. And because no one will hunt them harder than you will. The Admiral pressed another button. A young woman in a commander's uniform walked in. She stood straight and confident. This is Commander Lee Minna, said the Admiral. She studied every bit of data we have on the Nexer. She'll be your tactical officer. Minna bowed slightly to Day One. Captain, I've tracked 3 Nexer bases in the past year. I know how they think, how they move. Day One looked at the image of the Retribution again. You want us to hunt them? No, Captain, Admiral Park said. We want you to show them that taking a human life was their biggest mistake. The Retribution will lead a task force of 5 ships, find their bases, free their prisoners, and bring them to justice. Day One stood up slowly. The image of Suji being pulled into space flashed in his mind. But this time, the memory gave him strength instead of pain. When do we leave? The Retribution is ready now, Minna said. We just need our captain. Admiral Park handed Day One a command chip. Humanity has hidden its strength for long enough. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when someone threatens Earth. Day One took the chip, feeling its weight in his hand. For Earth, he said softly. And for Suji. The ESV Retribution cut through space like a blade. Captain Han Day One stood on the bridge, watching his 5-ship fleet move in perfect formation. Each ship was a dark shadow against the stars, their engines leaving no trace of their passing. Captain, Commander Lee Minna called from her station. Sensors show 2 Nexer scout ships ahead. They haven't spotted us yet. Day One nodded. After 3 weeks of hunting, they had finally found their prey. Show me, he ordered. The main screen lit up. 2 purple-black ships moved slowly through an asteroid field, probably looking for more victims to capture. Their shields are down, Minna reported. They don't expect any threats out here. A small smile crossed her face. They're about to learn differently. Day One pressed his command panel. All ships, battle positions, weapons free, but I want one of those ships intact enough to board. There might be prisoners aboard. The fleet spread out like a giant hand reaching for the Nexer ships. The Retribution's weapons officer, Kim Duha, spoke up. New targeting systems locked, sir. These guns are much better than anything the Nexer have seen. Fire when ready, Dad-1 ordered. The Retribution's main cannon fired a beam of blue-white energy. It hit the first Nexer ship before they even knew they were under attack. The alien vessel's shields flared and died in seconds. The second Nexer ship tried to run, but the Earth fleet had them surrounded. Quick shots from 2 Earth ships disabled its engines. Enemy ships are trapped, Minna announced. First target is dead in space. Second one is trying to call for help, but we're blocking their signals. Day 1 stood from his chair. Prepare boarding teams. I'll lead. Captain, a sensor officer interrupted. I'm picking up something strange from the asteroid field. There's a base hidden inside one of the larger rocks. The main screen shifted to show a massive asteroid. Part of it was hollow, hiding a Nexer facility inside. Minna rushed to check the readings. It's a research station, sir, just like the one they'd want to take captured specimens to. Day 1 felt his heart beat faster. Could Suji be there? He pushed the hope down, focusing on the mission. Change of plans, he announced. Commander Minna, you lead the boarding of the scout ships. I want their data cores intact. I'll coordinate the attack on that base. The next hour was carefully controlled chaos. The boarding teams found no prisoners on the scout ships, but they downloaded valuable data. The real prize was the hidden base. The Earth fleet surrounded the asteroid. When the base tried to power up its defenses, the Retribution's weapons cut through them like paper. Their technology isn't nearly as advanced as they want everyone to think, Minna said, returning to the bridge. They rely on fear and surprise. Against our real weapons, they're outmatched. Day 1 watched as his ships systematically destroyed the base's weapons, engines, and communication arrays. Send in the Marines. I want every piece of data they have. Every record. Every test subject location. As the Marines invaded the base, Dad-1 thought of Sujai. The Nexer had taken her because they feared human technology. Now they would learn what humans could really do. Sir, Minna called out. The data from the scout ships. It mentioned something called Project Ascension. And she paused, looking at him carefully. There's reference to a human subject matching Dr. Kim's description. Day 1 gripped his chair tightly. Where? They'd moved her 2 weeks ago, to something called Primary Research Station Alpha. Minna looked up from her screen, her eyes hard. We'll find it, sir. Yes, we will. Dai-1 turned to his crew. Send word to Earth Command. Tell them we found our first target, and we're just getting started. The Nexer thought they could hunt us. He looked at the burning base on his screen. Now they get to be the prey. The captured Nexer sat in the Retribution's holding cell, its shifting armor now disabled and dark. Captain Han Dai-1 stood outside the energy barrier, watching the alien with cold eyes. Commander Lee Minna stood beside him, holding a tablet with translation software. Why did you take her? Dai-1 asked quietly. Why Dr. Kim Suji? The Nexer's face was hidden behind a mask, but its voice came through the translator as rough and deep. Because she scared us. Minna looked up sharply. This was not the answer they expected. Scared you? Dai-1 stepped closer to the barrier. You attacked us. You took my wife. You're the ones who hunt other species. The alien made a sound like bitter laughter. Hunt. Yes, we hunt. We take. We learn. But your mate, she was different. Her research could have changed everything. The translation tablet showed data from the Nexer scout ships. Minna's eyes widened as she read. Captain, according to this, they've been watching Dr. Kim's work for months. Her faster-than-light drive design. It's more advanced than even the Nexer's technology. We ruled space for 1,000 years, the Nexer said. We thought we were the most advanced species. Then we found your research ships. Primitive vessels, or so we thought. But inside them, The alien leaned forward. Inside them, we found humans solving problems that took us centuries to understand. Day One's hands tightened into fists. Where is she? Project Ascension, the Nexer said. Your mate's mind was too valuable to waste. The Dominion decided she would serve a greater purpose. What purpose? Minna demanded. Before the alien could answer, the ship's alarms blared. Captain to the bridge. A voice called over the speakers. We've decoded more Nexer transmissions. Day One ran to the bridge. Minna closed behind him. On the main screen, encrypted Nexer messages scrolled past, being translated in real time. Sir, the communications officer said, it's about Project Ascension. It's not just about Dr. Kim. They're collecting the brightest minds from every species they find. There, he swallowed hard. They're trying to merge them with their own people. Minna pulled up more decoded files. They're using some kind of biological process. They're taking the knowledge, the capabilities of their captives, and somehow transferring them into Nexer bodies. Day One felt sick. Suji. They're trying to take her knowledge, her memories. Not trying, Captain. A new voice spoke from the doorway. Admiral Park walked onto the bridge, having arrived on a fast courier from Earth. According to these files, they've already started the process. The main screen showed a medical facility. In it, rows of tanks held floating bodies. Some were clearly alien. And in one tank, Suji, Da One whispered. The image showed her floating in blue liquid. Her body changed. Parts of her skin had the same shifting patterns as Nexer armor. But her face was still her own. And her eyes were open. She's fighting it, Admiral Park said softly. The files say she's resisting the transformation better than any subject they've ever had. She's still in there, Captain. Minna studied the facility's layout. This is from Primary Research Station Alpha. We can find it. The Nexer's own data will lead us right to them. Day One couldn't look away from Suji's image. His wife was alive, but being changed against her will, made into something else. But she was fighting. How long? He asked. 2 days at maximum speed, Minna answered. The station is hidden in the Carina Nebula. Plot the course. Dad One finally turned from the screen. And send word to the fleet. The Nexer wanted to take the best parts of humanity. His voice grew hard. Let's show them exactly what humanity can do when we're angry. Captain Yoon Ta-sung moved silently through the dark halls of the Nexer research station. His special ops team followed close behind, their black armor making them almost invisible. Above them, hidden in the nebula's gases, the Earth fleet waited for their signal. Security patrol ahead, whispered Kim Duha, his sensor specialist. 3 Nexer guards. Tae-sung raised his hand, signaling his team to stop. They pressed against the walls and waited. The Nexer walked past their position, never noticing the humans hiding in the shadows. Back on the Retribution, Captain Han Da-won watched through the team's helmet cameras. Commander Lee Minna sat beside him, working furiously to decode more of the station's security systems. I've got it, Minna said suddenly. I'm in their computer network, sending station maps to the infiltration team now. Tae-sung's helmet display lit up with new information. Found it. Subject holding area is 3 levels down. But, he paused, checking the data. There are dozens of tanks down there. Not just Dr. Kim. Save everyone you can, Da-won ordered through the comm. But find Suji. The team moved deeper into the station. They used Minna's codes to bypass security doors and avoid most of the guards. When they couldn't avoid fighting, their new weapons made quick work of the Nexer. Finally, they reached the main laboratory level. The sight made them all stop in shock. Huge glass tanks lined the walls, filled with blue liquid. Inside each one floated a different alien being. Some looked almost normal. Others were partially changed, their bodies showing signs of Nexer transformation. Life signs are stable in most tanks, Duha reported, scanning each one. They're all alive. Tae-sung moved down the row of tanks, checking each face. Then he saw her. Captain Day 1, we found Dr. Kim. On the Retribution, Dai-won leaned forward in his chair. Through the camera feed, he saw Suji floating in her tank. Parts of her skin shimmered with Nexer patterns, but her face was peaceful, like she was sleeping. Warning! Minna shouted suddenly. I'm detecting a power surge. They know we're here. Red lights flashed through the laboratory. Alarms blared. On the security feeds, dozens of Nexer soldiers started running toward the lab. Get her out of there, Dai-won ordered. Tae-sung's team rushed to Suji's tank. Do-ha started working on the controls while others set up defensive positions. Captain, Minna said, her voice tense. I'm finding more data about Project Ascension. The process. It's not just about taking knowledge. They're trying to make perfect beings, combining the best parts of every species they find. How many subjects are in there? Da-won asked. 37. Tae-sung answered. Scientists, warriors, and leaders from 12 different species, all being turned into Nexer hybrids. The first group of Nexer soldiers reached the lab. Energy weapons fired from both sides. Tae-sung's team held their ground while Do-ha kept working on Suji's tank. Almost got it, Do-ha said. Just need a few more seconds. The tank's blue liquid started draining. Suji's eyes opened slowly. Then a new alarm sounded, different from the others. No, Minna whispered, reading the new data. Captain, the station is starting emergency protocols. They're going to complete all transformations at once. They'd rather change the subjects completely than let us rescue them. Through the camera feed, Dai-won watched in horror as Suji's eyes went wide. The Nexer patterns on her skin began to spread. Do-ha, get her out now, Ta-sung shouted, firing at more incoming Nexer. Suji pressed her hand against the glass, looking directly at the camera. Even through the transformation, her eyes were clear. She was still fighting. Day 1 had to make a choice. Order an immediate rescue attempt that might save Suji, but lose the other prisoners, or try to save everyone and risk losing her completely to the transformation. Time was running out. Captain Han Da-won ate his decision in a heartbeat. All ships, attack pattern Omega. Target the station's power core. Commander Minna shut down their transformation systems. The Earth fleet burst from their hiding spots in the nebula. The Retribution led the charge, its weapons blazing bright against the colorful gases. Inside the station, Captain Yoon Ta-sung watched Suji's tank as the transformation slowed. Minna's hack was working, but Suji was already partly changed. Her skin rippled with Nexer patterns, but her eyes remained human, locked onto the rescue team. The tank seals are breaking. Do-ha shouted over the sound of battle. We can get her out. The station shook as the Earth fleet's attacks hit home. Tae-sung's team fought off waves of Nexer soldiers, while Do-ha worked to free all the prisoners. One by one, tanks opened. Beings from many different worlds fell out, confused but alive. On the Retribution's bridge, Minna tracked the battle. 3 Nexer battleships coming out of jump points. They're trying to trap us. Not today, Da-won said firmly. Show them what Earth's ships can really do. The Retribution turned to face the new threat. Its advanced weapons cut through the Nexer ship's shields like they weren't even there. The other Earth ships joined in, their coordinated attack overwhelming the enemy. Back in the lab, Suji's tank finally opened. She fell forward, caught by Do-ha. Her voice was rough but clear. The others, save them all. Already working on it, Doctor, Do-ha said, helping her stand. Her legs were shaky, but she could walk. Captain. Minna's voice was urgent. The Nexer are sending their whole fleet. 30 ships jumping in. The space around the station filled with purple-black Nexer vessels. They surrounded the Earth ships, weapons charging. They're hailing us, the communications officer reported. A Nexer commander appeared on the main screen. Its voice boomed through the bridge. You dare attack us. We are the Nexer. We take what we want. We. No, Dai-One cut him off. You took my wife. You took innocent people. You thought you were stronger than everyone else. But you were wrong. He nodded to Minna. She pressed a button, sending a signal. Suddenly, new ships appeared behind the Nexer fleet. Dozens of them, their designs strange and beautiful. Ships from all the races the Nexer had attacked over the years. You see, Dai-One said to the shocked Nexer commander, while you were busy with us, Commander Minna sent your files to every species you ever hurt. They all wanted justice. They were just waiting for someone to show them you weren't invincible. The battle that followed was like nothing space had ever seen. Earth's ships led the charge, their weapons blazing paths through the Nexer fleet. Ships from a dozen different worlds followed, each bringing their own unique weapons and tactics. The Retribution sensors showed Tai Sung's team leading the prisoners to rescue ships. Suji was with them, walking on her own despite her partial transformation. The Nexer patterns on her skin had stopped spreading. Enemy ships breaking formation. Minna reported. They're trying to run. Let some escape, Dai-One ordered. Let them tell others what happened when they pushed humanity too far. The Nexer fleet scattered. Behind them, their research station burst into flames as its power core finally overloaded. The Earth fleet and their alien allies picked off the retreating ships one by one. When the battle was done, Dai-One walked quickly to the rescue ship's docking bay. The door opened, and there was Suji, changed, but alive. Still herself. She smiled at him, her partly Nexer skin shimmering. You came for me. I would have burned down the galaxy to find you, he said softly. Around them, freed prisoners from many worlds hugged their rescuers. The Nexer's greatest research station was destroyed. Their fleet was in ruins, their reputation for invincibility shattered forever. The day humans showed the galaxy their real strength had finally come. 1 month after the Great Battle, the Retribution led a very different kind of fleet toward the Nexer home system. Ships from 20 different species flew together, their weapons ready but not yet firing. In the Retribution's command chair, Captain Han Da-One watched the approaching planets with steady eyes. Beside him stood Dr. Kim Suji, her skin still showing the shimmering patterns of her partial transformation. But now she wore an Earth Force uniform, the scientist's insignia on her collar gleaming. Their defense fleet is moving to intercept, Commander Lee Minna reported from her station. 40 ships, their strongest force yet. Send the message, Dai-One ordered. Suji stepped forward. Her voice, slightly changed by the transformation but still clearly hers, carried across space to the Nexer ships. This is Dr. Kim Suji of Earth. You took me. You tried to change me. You thought you could steal the best parts of other species to make yourselves stronger. The Nexer fleet stopped moving. They had never heard one of their test subjects speak to them like this. But you failed, Suji continued. Every person you took, every life you tried to change. We kept our minds, our souls. And now we're here to end your crimes forever. On the bridge screen, the Nexer leaders appeared. Their faces showed fear for the first time in their history. They saw not just Earth's fleet, but ships from every world they had ever attacked. And leading them all was one of their own test subjects, still standing proud despite what they had done to her. Surrender, Dai-One said simply. Face justice for your crimes, or we end this here. The Nexer leaders looked at their screens, seeing the weapons locked onto their worlds, seeing the unified fleet of their former victims. Finally, their supreme leader stepped forward. We surrender, it said. The next few hours were busy. Earth Marines and soldiers from other worlds took control of the Nexer's main cities. Minna led teams that shut down every transformation facility they found. Prisoners from dozens of worlds were freed. In the Nexer's central meeting hall, representatives from all the victim species gathered. They would decide together how to make sure the Nexer could never hurt anyone again. Tuja stood at a window, watching the sun set on the Nexer homeworld. Dai-One joined her, taking her hand. The doctors say they can't fully reverse what they did to you, he said softly. She smiled, squeezing his hand. Maybe I don't want them to. The Nexer tried to steal other species' strength. Instead, they showed us all how strong we already were. She touched her shimmering skin. This can remind everyone what happens when you try to break the human spirit. Admiral Park walked up to them, holding a datapad. Dr. Kim, your faster-than-light drive research. We found it all. The Nexer kept perfect records. And with your new understanding of their technology, I can finish it, Suji said. But this time, we share it with all the species who helped us today. We grow stronger together, not by stealing from each other. Day One looked out at the gathered ships in orbit. Earth vessels flew side by side with alien craft of all shapes and sizes. Former enemies now worked together, united by their stand against the Nexer. The galaxy's changing, he said. Good, Suji replied. The Nexer thought they could take a human life and make it their own. Instead, they caused something they never expected. What's that? Minna asked, joining them at the window. Suji smiled, her partially transformed features reflecting the setting sun. They showed everyone that humanity doesn't break. We don't give up. And when we stand together with others who believe in justice, she looked at her husband, then at the peaceful fleet above. We can change the whole galaxy for the better. Day One pulled her close, and they watched the stars appear one by one. The stars that would never again hide the Nexer's evil. The stars that would now shine on a galaxy where justice had finally won, and where taking a human life had led not to victory, but to the greatest defeat the Nexer had ever known. The stars that would light the way to a better future, born from humanity's strength and the power of standing together.